Tonight on News 5 Live, 2 police officers are injured during a robbery at a resort in San Ignacio. A female officer is shot and her male colleague is ran over. The United Democratic Party strongly criticizes the Belize Police Department for the handling of the weekend shooting involving Deputy Mayor Micah Goodin. And the controversial trade license bill. We'll tell you what the opposition and business community are saying about the proposed legislation. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
This May will be amazing at Benny's. Get amazing deals and great gifts from Mom. We have Pyrex Bakeware, Chicago Cutlery Knife Sets, Corningware, Snapware, and the elegant yet durable Coral Dinnerware Sets at amazing prices. Check out our impressive line of Sankey appliances and much, much more. Take advantage of these amazing deals all May long only at Benny's, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Digifans, the 2022 Belize Telephone Directory is now available. Pick up your free copy at any Digistore and ENR branches countrywide. Check out our cellular, residential, and Yellow Page listings. It's the most complete guide in Belize. You can also access the directory on the go by downloading the free Find Yellow mobile app from the Google Play and Apple Store. For more info, log on to www.findyellow.com. The 2022 Belize Telephone Directory. Get your copy today.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5 Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Biodegradable plastics. When talking about plastic, don't you always hear people say that this plastic or that plastic is biodegradable, eco-friendly, environmentally friendly, green, or even ecological? Well, the truth is that these words and many others like them are often used to give the impression that the product is better for the environment. When shopping, the terms to look for are bio-based, compostable or environmentally degradable plastics because they are tested against specific standards to ensure that they are broken down with minimal impacts to the environment. But what does biodegradable really mean? To put it simply, it is the breakdown of something into water, carbon dioxide, and biomass by the action of living organisms, usually bacteria or fungus. However, people call some plastics biodegradable, but they never fully break down because they still contain plastics made from petroleum or inorganic material. The plastics just break down into tinier pieces called microplastics, which then enter the food cycle through the ingestion by animals that people eat. Don't be fooled, check your labels. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
Applying for a Social Security sickness benefit? Here's what you need to know. A complete claims package include 1. Sickness claim form fully completed by the claimant and medical doctor. 2. Salaries record form completed by the employer or HR representative. 3. Proof of bank account such as bank book, online banking, or statement displaying your name and account number. To submit via email, you need to take a clear photo or scan of the documents and email to claims@socialsecurity.org.bz. Be sure to include your full name, social security number, and benefit type in the subject line of the email. Or you can drop off all completed forms into the Dropbox slot at the nearest branch office. Deadline to submit is 14 days from your first day of illness. All forms are available on the website at www.socialsecurity.org.bz. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, May 18th. I am Sabrina Daly. A resort in the Cayo district was the target of a holdup on Tuesday night, and the perpetrators wounded 2 of 3 police officers who were responding to the call for help. The incident happened sometime after 10 p.m. at the Kukulkan resort. The maintenance worker, Messias Zib, reported to police that he was in his room on the property when 5 men wearing masks and dressed in camouflage ambushed him and tied him up with duct tape. The men then searched his room and asked for the Toyota Land Cruiser SUV that is usually parked at the resort before fleeing with several items, including a vehicle. Just as the officers were pulling up to intercept the fleeing vehicle, they came under attack by the robbers. Commissioner of Police Chester Williams shared with News 5 details of what transpired during the police encounter with the perpetrators.
The police officers responded, and as they were making their way to the location where the information suggested that the crime was in progress, they saw a vehicle coming the opposite direction at very high speed. The officers brought their vehicle to a stop and attempted to stop the vehicle that was coming, believing that it may have been the suspect of the aggravated burglary. The vehicle nonetheless did not stop. It practically drove through the officers, who had to jump off the road to avoid being hit by this oncoming vehicle. Notwithstanding that, one of the officers was hit and he received minor injuries, was taken to the hospital and treated and released. After having passed the officers, the vehicle slowed down, and one of its occupants fired several shots in the direction of the officers, hitting one of our members, a female corporal of police, to the leg. She was taken to the San Ignacio Polyclinic. and later to Belfast Hospital, or the Western Regional Hospital, where she is currently admitted in a stable condition. Simultaneously to that, another police mobile arrived on the scene, and there was a hot pursuit between the other police mobile and the mobile in which the suspects were in. And that chase took the officers to the Hammock Bridge in San Ignacio, where the occupants of the vehicle abandoned the vehicle and flee on foot.
The assailants got away with a laptop, a cell phone and other items, as well as the keys for a 2012 Nissan Rogue that was parked in the garage. The officers who were injured are Corporal Jacqueline Guzman, who suffered a gunshot wound above her left knee, and Police Constable Danny Chi, who was knocked down and suffered a wound to his head and abrasions over his body. The lives of the Director of the Belize Family Court and Commissioner of Police Chester Williams have reportedly come under threat by a high-profile respondent in a custody battle before the court. Reports are that the hit was orchestrated by a woman whose case has been before the court for almost a year and is near completion. That individual, who lives on an island, is also before the Supreme Court for a criminal matter. The information is that the woman sought the services of a Belize City gang to carry out the executions. Compal Williams and the family court director got wind of the planned attacks, and all efforts are focused on neutralizing that threat. Compal Williams told News 5 today that the woman will be detained.
So far, what we have done is to gather the relevant information that needs to be gathered as a part of the investigation process. And in addition, the woman in question who allegedly made these threats or was conspiring with others to execute myself and the magistrate will be detained by the police as a part of the investigation process. We have also detained some other additional persons who have been interviewed as a part of the investigation to ascertain the validity of the information. It is a threat that we're not taking lightly. We do know the potential of the woman whose name has been called as the perpetrator of the threat. And so we're not taking it lightly, so every precaution is being taken with a view to ensure that the threat is neutralized.
What charges, if any, would be brought against this individual should she be found culpable of having conspired in these threats?
Well, certainly it is an offense or a crime under the Criminal Code of Belize to conspire to murder somebody, and even though the act itself is not carried out, it does not negate the fact that you did in fact conspire to murder the persons that you were conspiring to murder. The offense is not one that requires that the person or persons be dead in order for you to be charged. So long as there is sufficient evidence to show that you acted with others, you planned, there was a meeting of the mind between yourself and other person to carry out a certain act. That is sufficient to constitute the offense of conspiracy.
A resident of Biscayne Village is in critical condition after he was shot on Tuesday evening in Belize City. 29-year-old Evan Kane was walking on Jasmine Street in the Lake Independence area sometime around 5:30 p.m. when he heard a gunshot and realized that he had been hit. Commissioner of Police Chester Williams told News 5 that police are investigating, while a relative of the victim told us they didn't know their relative was shot.
One individual was met with a gunshot wound to the back, which exited the front region of his body. He was taken to the Carl Bush Memorial Hospital, where he is currently admitted in a critical but stable condition. Let me say that this individual is from the Biscayne village, and the previous day he had a misunderstanding with his girlfriend, and so we're looking at that angle of it.
I never realized that he tell when we reach the hospital. Then we know that he, because I'm at the hospital at the time, and my next cousin just say that look like your family, so I just say make we go and check, and when we go and check, then we get find out that he get shot. But he don't know bad person, he not a family man, he couldn't go work every day, so I really don't understand what happened. But you know, everybody else, we just have to hold up our head, you know.
What's the doctors saying?
Oh, we don't know. I really not sure, and I tell no lie, I'm not sure because I don't talk to none of my family yet.
A man who was found guilty of murder has been sentenced to 13 years imprisonment in the Southern Session of the Supreme Court. Andre Villa-Diaz was convicted of the murder of Kelvin Hernandez on August 19, 2019 in Hope Creek Village, Stan Creek. Hernandez was chopped to death near a basketball court in the village. Villa-Diaz will spend 11 years behind bars since he has already served 2 years waiting for his trial to be called. The case was presided over by Justice Antoinette Moore. Deputy Mayor Micah Goodin has come under severe criticism from the United Democratic Party following a weekend shooting in which he was involved. Shadow Minister of National Security Mike Parafit maintains that the sitting Minister of Home Affairs, his Chief Executive Officer, and the Commissioner of Police should demit office forthwith. He points to Saturday morning's mayhem on Newtown Barracks as an example of their inability to carry out their jobs effectively. In the wake of the incident that left 20-year-old Tay Medina with a graze to the neck, the UDP is calling for charges to be brought against Goodin. Parafit contends that in any other instance, Goodin would have been arraigned on charges related to the shooting incident.
Nobody has moved to say suspend him, reprimand him in any way so far. It is rank hypocrisy. People have been charged for less than this situation. I'll get into that. I'll get into the law, and OJ can correct me. He seems to be more active than myself these days. People have been charged for less than what Micah Goodin finds himself in today. You have shots coming from a vehicle, a report is made. Tariq James was in Micah Goodin's vehicle, and he has been charged with discharging a firearm in public. Under the law, Micah Goodin, being the owner and controller of that vehicle, is responsible for what comes from that vehicle. If I'm driving in a vehicle and I give somebody a ride and the police see me throw a gun out that vehicle, I am responsible because I am the owner and the controller of that vehicle until it can be disproved by me that it wasn't me who threw it out the window. So when shots come from your vehicle, as is reported, you are responsible and you are supposed to be charged because that has the markings of a joint enterprise.
Also speaking on the matter in his capacity as an attorney representing one of the men involved in the shooting was O.J. Elrington. Contrary to what the Commissioner of Police has stated on record, Elrington says that Micah Goodin was not detained for 36 hours. In fact, he says that when he arrived at the Queen Street Police Station around 9 a.m. on Saturday, Goodin had already left the precinct.
On this occasion, I actually was retained by the family of Mr. Kenyon Tillett over the weekend. And so I have a first-hand account of what exactly happened, at least according to the police. Myself, along with my senior attorney at law, Ms. Sharon Pitts, went to the police station. She was there before me. I got to the police station at around a little bit after 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. We both spoke to the investigating officer at that time, he informed us that that Mr. Micah Gooding, according to him, at that time, at best, had already been released. Again, there are questions as to whether or not he had ever been detained, because numerous accounts from members of the family who were outside the police station said that he had been traversing in and out of the police station. Nobody who ever detained you can traverse in and out of the police station like you would like. Investigating officer, when he told us that, I relayed to him, well, if it is that you release Mr. Micah Gooding and our client has already given a statement, then could you afford him the same courtesy to allow him to be released? I will give you my personal undertaking as an officer of the law and an attorney that if you wish to charge him, I will return him to the police station for you to charge him. Always happen. Mike knows this. The officer said no. He cannot do that because he has to get instructions from his higher ups before he releases this person. This is beyond him. That is why I found it very disturbing when I heard my friend, I still maintain he's my friend, my colleague at the bar and the commissioner of police say unequivocally that Mr. Micah Gooding was in police custody for 36 hours. He again might have been misinformed that Mr. Kenyon Tillett was not forthcoming. Mr. Kenyon Tillett gave a statement to the police. He gave them a statement. A statement is his account of the incident. The police insisted that they wanted to do a further statement. He said, I have already given you my account of the events. There is nothing further I can tell you.
The Belize National Teachers Union, in the wake of an emotional social media post shared by a distraught primary school teacher, has issued a statement on an incident that recently took place at St. Luke Methodist School. BNTU says it will ensure that an investigation is conducted into the allegations made by Joanna Isigeri and that the inquiry be carried out in a manner that safeguards due process. According to the release, the Education Amendment Rules 2012 allow for the sanctioning of managements and the disciplining of administrators despite the blatant atrocities brought against teachers by some managements and administrators, and that the Ministry of Education has failed to enforce the rules. A press conference with BNTU President Senator Elena Smith has been called for Thursday afternoon. We will keep following the story. Coming up, the UDP and the Chamber of Commerce in separate press conferences dissect the proposed trade license bill. And Brad's Bolito contract. Opposition leader says he supports taxes being levied on the gaming company. Details when we return.
Maras, man, I can't stand these people. Lord, they only tired me.
What you say?
The hard is.
Where you come back in here?
They like turn easy thing into a lot of thing, and I don't like that. Make us start for the beginning. My granny Mary me died so years ago, and she gave each her kids different land titles for land we in her family long time. Now, out of 3 of the picnic there, only 2 of they do the right thing when the area get declared by the government of Belize, and they can do the first registration and get the land certificate. Like Auntie Susan, she can get her land certificate and she may end up to get a loan for the bank where she apply for fix her see-through boat house. She high house see-through because if you go underneath it and you look up, you can see through her floor and see zinc. Auntie? Quick thing with her title, she get the loan and she fix that. Done. And me Uncle Rudolph, he be able to put his parcel of land in his name during the first registration with the Lands Registry Department, and he be able to bail cousin Junior out of jail. Since he like the streets so much, Uncle Rudolph end up to get our job with Ministry of Works so he could fix streets instead of to get trouble upon there. You mean the street? Me run down the street. But the one where they stress me, that is one right off of my house. My ma, Miss Ruth. Ruth now I go get the land certificate and the papers in her because she said a lot of things. Even though it's so easy, even though it's so simple, but they always want to talk about how you want to sell the piece of land. It can't. She no got the proper papers. The thing no complicated. Once your area get declared, get your whole land title and go get your land certificate. Come on, people. Listen to me. Go check out where all you need. Visit the Ministry of Natural Resources Facebook page. No say I never tell you. Yeah, Miss Ruth.
St. Bite, Placentia, Hopkins. First registration mobile clinic is headed your way. Join us May 26th and 27th at the St. Bite Multipurpose Building on Main Road. From 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., have your land title updated into the new system. Brought to you by the Ministry of Natural Resources, Petroleum and Mining.
Who offers the best home internet experience? The truth is, Digi, of course. Diginet has the largest fiber network and the fastest speeds with the most reliable service. That's more learning, more earning, more gaming, more bonding, more sharing, getting more things done. And now, Diginet is even more affordable with the new entry plan, a 20 megabits per second fiber connection for just $49 monthly, and increased speeds in all plans. The truth is, only Digi has the ultimate home internet experience, with savings up to $270 when you bundle. Wireless and cable can't give you that. So what are you waiting for? Sign up or make the switch to DigiNet today to enjoy more speeds to get more done. Digi, our national telecom.
Welcome to Design Depot. All in one place. Shop brands you know and trust, like Kohler. Welcome, GE Appliances.
Welcome.
Oran Windows.
Welcome.
Tiles from around the world.
Welcome.
Sherwin-Williams Paint and Coatings. Visit us today at mile 3 on the Philip Golson Highway or call us at 223-3768. Design Depot. All in one place.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
The proposed trade license bill that was introduced in the House of Representatives for first reading on Friday has been met with opposition in various quarters, including the business community and the entertainment industry. This morning, during a press conference held by the United Democratic Party, opposition leader Shine Barrow, himself a former performing artist, spoke on the crippling effect that levying additional taxes would have on these respective groups. Barrow says that not only are the new taxes detrimental, they are also ill-timed, given the gradual recovery from the economic impact of the pandemic.
Look at entertainers. An entertainer is lucky if they make $200, $300, $500 for the day. Maybe some of the bigger artists might make $1,000. Is the government truly thinking about the best interests of the people that elected them when we're not even halfway recovered from COVID-19, and you will start to grab at the little that our people have? Entertainers are underpaid as it is. Look at peddlers. For so long, for 2 years, we had curfew. And I used to go in the house every opportunity and ask them to lift the curfew because people needed to be out there to catch and kill, for lack of a better word. And know that we're only a few weeks into the curfew being lifted, as soon as the peddlers are trying to get back 2 years of not generating anything, we are going to come with attacks in the villages, in the towns and in the cities. Where is the timing? Just like they took the 10% from our public servants. Where is the timing? Where is the consideration for the struggle of the Belizean people, who they had the antidote when they were trying to get in government?
This law was created a long time ago. We rejected that. Somebody told them that, you know, we're not applying to no village, and they just took that. But I bet the farm, that they have not read that piece of legislation, or they wouldn't say what they say. That's my view on it anyways.
In scrutinizing the language of the proposed legislation, attorney O.J. Elrington says that persons conducting business at the micro level in villages will also be affected by the new law once it is enacted. He goes on to share the legal definitions that pertain to villages, as well as entertainers.
It says, every person who wishes to commence a trade within the limits of any tongue shall, before the commencement of such a business, commit to the board of the tongue wherein the purposes is set up his trade. Tongue. Let's go to what is the definition of a tongue for the purposes of this act. And it is in the the third page of the substantive act. In the definitions, it says a tongue. Tongue means any tongue mentioned and described in the schedule to the Tongue Concourse Act or the Belize City Council Act. B, the city of Belmopan established under the Belmopan City Council Act, or any village declared under the Village Council Act. The act itself tells you every single place in Belize, including villages, is covered by this act. According to the act in the black and white, under the definitions, it says peddler means a person who sells or exposes goods for sales in any public place. Good. Let's move on. Let's talk about the other big lie that these tax suckers are telling. They claim that the act is only for, when the tax on entertainers is only for big entertainers, established entertainers, those who are having huge concerts. So I don't know if you know, but there is a feature in PDF that you can search to determine if a word appears anywhere in the document. If the word appears anywhere in the document. But let's first begin by the definition. Again, let's begin first with the definition of entertainers. Again, the definition segment of entertainers. Again, in the definition, we go to entertainers. It says entertainer means a person who performs any act for profit, including any acrobat, circus performer, dancer, singer, musician, comedian, and disc jockey. Nowhere does it say any person who makes over $10,000, over $1,000. It gives no qualifying criteria. Any person who performs any of these acts for profit is subject to this act.
The Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry says that the conversation with GOB on trade license reform started back in 2009 and has evolved over time. Major concerns were ventilated back in 2013 when trade license had increased up to 300% for some of its members in various municipalities. According to the president of the BCCI, Marcelo Blake, there should be appropriate and equitable share of the cost. He says that 80% of the membership is micro, small and medium enterprises, and that there are 5 key goals.
The revenue neutrality the transparency, predictability, the administrative ease, and accountability. And for us, we remain committed to the process to ensure that we can move towards a fee rather than what it is currently, which is a tax by another name that actually is levied on businesses as a trade license. And so for us, while in the short and medium term, we remain sympathetic to the municipalities and the need for the funding that go into those municipalities in order for them to offer the necessary goods and services, we are also of the opinion that we must move towards a flat fee rather than the way the calculations are being done currently. And so while the conversations have been ongoing, and yes, the chamber has been consulted, part of our challenge with the move to take it to the House so early is the fact that the chamber did not necessarily have adequate time to be able to go through the actual written bill. So conceptually, we discussed various elements of the bill in order for us to get to the point where we are, and we must commend the ministry for the steps taken to move us in this direction. And while there is now some element of predictability in the bill where there is now a 3-year review, it does not remove the requests from our end to be able to digest the bill in its written format in as much detail as possible, and for us to then go to our members and be able to consult with the document in hand.
While the discourse on social media is centered around Article 7 of the bill as it relates to entertainers, peddlers and others now having to pay for a trade license, policy analyst Dion Elliott explains the issues with the trade licensing regime, as it has been in place since 1976. Elliott says that the bill proposes a new methodology to calculate annual rental value and expands now to include rural areas. While they may not agree with the methodology, they appreciate that the municipalities benefit from this revenue.
The government went and worked on several different iterations of this thing. The most recent one before us, which is not being discussed in the public sphere right now, is how the annual rental value is being calculated under the bill that's going or has gone before the House. The bill before the House proposes a new methodology to calculate annual rental value. It takes your business classification. There are different zones. Belize City has 3 zones, zone 1, 2, and 3. And each business classification, whether it's an accommodation, professional service, auto dealer, XYZ, they have a different rate per square foot for those businesses according to their business classification based on the zone that they're in. And that is used to now calculate based on your square footage. And we will have to get into a conversation of a thing known as a productive footprint that looks at, that is how now you're going to be assessed for your annual rental value. The municipalities are now given the option to choose a rate. Before, as I said before, the law had it fixed that you were supposed to be charging 25% on annual rental value. Now, the municipalities, the 9 municipalities that currently have a trade license, are given the option to choose what rate, as long as it's 25% or below. So, for example, I think Belize City has said that they will choose 15%. That is the proposed regime now. We do not necessarily like it. It's not the best regime. As President Blake has said, our call has been for a flat fee for years. That's the international best practice, is for a flat fee.
The Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry believes that details of the bill remain unclear and need buy-in before being made into law. The bill will be taken to the House committee level on Monday, and the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry says that it will be placing its position on record. BCCI believes that consultations must continue so that businesses can understand how they will be affected. The Chamber believes that the timing for the trade license reform is of concern.
That's a challenging one because for our members, a lot of them are still trying to recover from the pandemic. So it's not the ideal time for any increase in the cost of doing business. And so while this has been in the making for some time, that hence the reason why I said there needs to be further consultation and dialogue before this is fully signed into law, for us to then be able to also be able to provide our input into the timing, right? And we do appreciate that there has been the conversations over the years of delaying the implementation of what the trade license could look like. There are some businesses that may see a decrease and others that will see an increase. For us at this point, it's more coming back to the table and continuing to consult, because as you mentioned, the footprint, the details of the impacts on the various sectors has not been finalized. And so that is kind of one of those items that's still out there that's not been pinned down in its detail.
Last Friday, during the sitting of the House of Representatives, the issue of the contract awarded to Brad's Gaming Company was raised. This was in reference to taxes that should have been levied on the operation. On Monday, Brad's Gaming Company Limited filed a suit in the Supreme Court seeking to repeal SI 51/2022. The new regulation was brought forward by the Briceño administration as a revenue generator. In a letter issued by BCGL, the company says that it does not own the Boleto lotteries. It only manages the operations. It says, quote, GOB has never taxed its own lottery, hence the previous exemption of the law. BCGL says it pays $2.5 million in annual license fee, $500,000 in minimum profit sharing, 15% of profits above $1 million, and a little over $800,000 in business tax. When the question was put to opposition leader Shine Barrow today on whether Brad's should be taxed for the Boleto lotteries, here's how he responded.
I completely support the tax on Brad's, because that is an example of what I said earlier, taxing those people that are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, and certainly Brad's Boleto would fall under that category. So I have no difficulty with implementing that tax that should have been implemented for years.
So then, I just want to put a fine point on it. You're saying that you support it now, and it should have been implemented for years, means that your predecessor, the party leader, and father, Dean Barrow, and allegedly your sibling, Anwar, should have been taxed from that time, and you are happy they're being taxed now.
That is my position. I am consistent. We need to get sharing of the burden, and as I said earlier, before you asked that question, those people that are making millions and millions of dollars, those are the people that need to pay the taxes. Before they went after the peddlers with this trade license, I'd prefer them try to get that 60 million that was exempt. That is, and the Prime Minister's sister as well. So you see, I am not calling out the Prime Minister to collect taxes from just his sister. It applies to everyone. I don't know that Anwar Barrow owns Brad's Boleto. That is information to me. I don't do business with him. I don't know anything about his business ownership. I just know Brad's Boleto owned by Brad's. I support the 12.5 taxes. And before we go to the small people, the peddlers, the entertainers, get those millions of taxes that were exempt for so many years. That would be a move that I would support.
After the break, an update on the contaminated water situation in San Vicente. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Get ready. Universal Hardware is doing it again with a mega sale in Belize City from May 19th to May 21st. Enjoy deep discounts on Leaf Fan motorcycles, Echo chainsaws, Shindaiwa brush cutters, Makita power tools, Easy Care paint, Cali flooring, Toolcraft hand tools, Sankey AC units, and much more.
Grand raffle on May 21st. Don't miss out.
Universal Hardware, the preferred solutions provider.
You want a mobile service provider that allows you to stay connected with fast, reliable LTE coverage anytime, anywhere. Whether it's just to catch up with family, to share that experience with your one special friend, or to manage your small business. Whatever's your thing, you deserve to have the best mobile experience. Now you can do even more while on the go with the increased anytime data allowance in Digi's mobile postpaid plans. You now enjoy 8 gigs of anytime data starting at only $55 monthly. Or share up to 120 gigs of anytime data with up to 6 of your closest friends. That's more LTE data for you to enjoy during the day, nights, and weekends. No restrictions. So keep your gigs up with more data plus unlimited talk and text in all Digi postpaid plans. Visit a Digi store near you to sign up today. All you need is a valid ID and proof of address. It's time to get on Belize's fastest mobile 4G LTE advanced network. Visit livedigi.com to find out more, or hit us up on WhatsApp or Facebook. Digi, our national telecom.
My name is Julie, and I'm a single mom raising a 10-year-old son. I am the director for a conservation organization. When I started working in the field of marine conservation, it was absolutely male-dominated. It still is male-dominated. One of my first jobs was as a manager out on a remote island with all male staff reporting to me. And one of my assistants was very upset with me and actually told me, the only woman who ever tells me what to do is my mom. And I have my son, and I really do want to show him that really anything can be done, and it doesn't matter who you are. From day one, I've been teaching my son that any job that a man can do, a woman can do. And he has learned this, and he now preaches this to friends and even my colleagues.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Today, News 5 spoke with Principal Public Health Inspector John Bowden about the situation in San Vicente Village, Toledo, where 6 residents had to be hospitalized after ingesting poison that was placed in the water system in the village. As we told you on Tuesday night, one man is in police custody pending investigation. But Bowden says that they can confirm that the person laced the water system with malathion pesticide.
The particular pesticide was malathion, and it was reported that it was actually poured into the water system, and it had a very high pungent odor coming from it. And as a result of that, we had to get into action in terms of ensuring that we could safeguard the system and prevent any serious condition occurring within the population. And so we had closed the water system in order for us to be able to secure that water that is contaminated and to actually clean out the system. And then, of course, we also collected some water samples to test the water to see whether we could have detected any of the chemical in it. No? So we, in regards to the water sampling, we, of course, because we can only do elemental metals, we had to seek the services of Baha, who is trying to facilitate us and see whether if they can do the testing for us now. But what we are certain is that that was actually the chemical malathion was used in it because that was found near the system, and in fact police have somebody now in custody in regards to the contaminant that was used.
Anyone exhibiting symptoms such as vomiting, shortness of breath, headache, diarrhea, and cramps are asked to access the nearest medical facility for treatment. The principal public health inspector says that public health officers are still out in the village monitoring the situation. At this time, the all clear for residents to resume use of the water has not been given.
Clear, at least from the Ministry of Health, has not been issued. We have done some remedial work in terms of the system. We did a double wash, which is normally typical. And it was super chlorinated. But there's still some concerns there in terms of the piping work, so the network, as we would call it. It might still be in the pipeline, and so we need to ensure fully that that is done and it is safe for people to be used. So until we can ascertain that is at a satisfactory level, the system is still not non-functional and will not be cleared until we are satisfied that it is safe for the system to go into operation.
Bowden recommends that a perimeter fence be erected around the system to prevent any recurrence of the incident like this. Last week, the Fisheries Department announced new requirements for fisherfolk who are harvesting conch and lobster. The size of their catch increases by ½ inch for both products. This too has been met with protests from the fishing communities of Keycocker and Sartaneja, among others. UDP Corzal Southeast caretaker Tony Herrera shared the plight of the fishermen who are already buckling under the weight of exorbitant fuel prices and the already steep cost of living.
The cries of our fishermen is mostly due to the consultation process. They were never consulted, although we hear now on the minister saying that there were consultations done countrywide. However, yesterday, as close as yesterday, there was a mass protest in Sartaneja village by hundreds of fishermen. If there were consultation, that would have never happened. But today, here we are, fighting for these fishermen. Why? Because we have 3,072 fishermen, licensed fishermen. We have a total of 842 sailing vessels that go to fishing. That does not include skiffs. Each vessel carries 10 to 15 persons per vessel, meaning 10 to 15 families. Now, here's the deal, guys. The Ministry of Fisheries is saying that they want, or they have increased the size of lobster from 4 to 4.5, the conchs from 3 to 3.5. What this is simply doing to the fishermen is cutting deep into their pockets. We're talking about a 40% yield per year. And I'm with my colleagues when it comes to commodities, fuel, and everything skyrocketing. If they're already being cut 40% off their yields in earnings, fuel is up, 100% now, the groceries they have to take. So all of this taken into consideration, they will kill the industry. That is one. When it comes to consultations, we have two letters, one from the National Cooperative that was sent to the fisheries officer, Mr. Rigoberto Quintana, on June the 18th, telling them that if this goes into effect, this will reduce their production by 12%. So again, who was consulted and where? When? Then we have another letter by the Northern Fishermen Cooperative, dated May the 16th, also lending their support to the fishermen of these communities. So again, guys, where was the consultation when it comes to this bill?
Village council elections across the country began in earnest this past weekend. And of the 29 communities that participated in the vote, 11 of them went to the United Democratic Party. It is a slow and comparatively weak start, notwithstanding that challenges have beset the UDP over the past 2 years. Nonetheless, party leader Shine Barrow maintains that, given those setbacks, the party is doing extremely well.
We won 10 of the 29 villages that were contested this Sunday past. And we have held on to 7 of those. So given the circumstances where we only won 5 seats in the House of Representatives in 2020, and we only won we lost 65 of the 67 municipal seats last year in 2021. I think that we are off to a great start, and this week we will continue to hold and we will continue to fight. When you have the instances of people not offering themselves in certain villages, I must confess there is a lot of intimidation and victimization taking place, a lot of fear-mongering, and people feel that it is too early for them to take the lick that they will take if they come out. That is understandable. That is why you have some people running independent. But it is 2 years, as I said to you a few interviews ago, I made it clear that we are rebuilding. We just elected a new leader. Before that, there was 2 years of turmoil and a leadership crisis. And in that context, we have done extremely well to hold on to 7 of the 10 that we won in 2019, and we will continue to do better.
When we return, COVID-19 numbers are on the rise. PAHO provides the latest regional statistics. But first, here is the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
We live in a world obsessed with the latest trends, fashions, and lifestyles, setting unrealistic expectations and wanting to alter everything about ourselves. How is this affecting our self-worth? What if we were able to silence all the noise and focus on what really matters? Join us right here for Sagebrush Church as we begin our new series, Identity Theft, where we will discuss how to live in a world with ever-changing standards of perfection.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
This May will be amazing at Penny's. Get amazing deals and great gifts from Mom. We have Pyrex Bakeware, Chicago Cutlery Knife Sets, Corningware, Snapware, and the elegant yet durable coral dinnerware sets at amazing prices. Check out our impressive line of Sankey appliances and much, much more. Take advantage of these amazing deals all May long only at Benny's, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
The Pan American Health Organization has issued some alarming data about the rise in COVID-19 infections and deaths across the region. PAHO held a press conference today where it sought to inform the region of a significant rise in COVID-19 cases across the Americas and the Caribbean over the past 4 weeks. According to the data, hospitalizations are also on the rise. Countries within the Caribbean are reporting increases in hospitalizations, while others like Brazil and Venezuela are reporting increases in deaths. Dr. Carissa Itian, the director of PAHO, shared these details.
New infections and fatalities of COVID-19 have been rising steadily over the past 4 weeks. Last week, our region reported more than 918,000 cases, a 27.2% increase compared with the previous week. Over 3,500 deaths were reported. COVID-19 hospitalizations increased in 18 countries, and admissions to intensive care units rose in 13 countries and territories. More than half of the infections were reported in North America, where cases have been climbing for the past 7 weeks. The surge is driven by new infections in the United States, which recorded more than 605,000 new cases, which is a 33% increase. Central America saw the largest rise in cases, with infections soaring by 80%. In South America, Brazil recorded more than 120,000 new cases, a 9% increase. Argentina had almost 34,000 cases, a 92% increase over the previous week. Infections also surged in other countries of the sub-region, while Venezuela, Paraguay, and Brazil recorded an increase in deaths. Across the Caribbean, COVID-19 cases have been increasing for 5 consecutive weeks, with a rise of 9.3% in cases and a jump in deaths of 49% as compared with the previous week. 14 countries and territories in the Caribbean reported increases in hospitalizations.
Dr. Etienne says the rise in cases should be a wake-up call for countries across the region. She suggests that people remain masked up and keep their social distance practices, which she says have served for the past 2 years.
It is time to take stock of these numbers and to act. COVID is again on the rise in the Americas. The truth is that this virus is not going away anytime soon. After a period of lower transmission, many countries and local governments are abandoning masking and social distancing requirements and have reopened borders. But at the same time, too many people remain at risk, unprotected by vaccines. Only 14 of the 51 countries and territories in our region have reached the WHO target to vaccinate 70% of their population. We know that the elderly, pregnant women, and people with pre-existing conditions are at higher risk of severe disease or dying if they catch COVID. But in some countries, vaccination coverage in these groups is lower than in the general population. And in other places, vaccination coverage is lower in socially vulnerable groups, such as indigenous and Afro-descendant communities, putting them at even greater risk. Ultimately, each country is only as protected as the most vulnerable in their population. The rise in cases should serve as a wake-up call. When people get sick, hospitals get overwhelmed, health systems are challenged, and the number of deaths rise. Masking and social distancing have served us well since the start of the pandemic and are still valid measures to lower virus transmission.
School closure as a result of the COVID pandemic has had a significant impact on the learning capacity of children in the Caribbean. Today, the World Bank joined regional officials in a webinar to share information coming out of surveys done in the region. The studies have shown that learning problems in the Caribbean, which were already there prior to COVID, were exacerbated by the pandemic. Children in the Caribbean will enjoy only 55% of their productive capacity by the age of 18, the information suggests. Countries like Belize that had their schools closed longer have suffered more than the others in the Caribbean who remained open longer. Here's World Bank representative Tim Johnson sharing some of those findings.
For the Caribbean, and this is just the Caribbean countries, you can see for each country which ones were fully closed. That's the red at the bottom. Were they mostly closed, partially closed in the yellow, or open, which is the green? So you can see quite a range from countries like Belize, Jamaica, Guyana, which had their schools closed a substantial portion of the time, to some countries like Bermuda, Aruba, and Curacao that were open much more of the time. So you have a lot of variation between. So what happened as a result? Well, we know that attendance rates, even with virtual and online learning, dropped as compared to prior to the pandemic. And if you compare the beginning of the pandemic with just over a year later, in May or July of 2021, our teams have estimated about 1 in 4 students were not actively engaged in any learning activity just over a year later, despite the availability of online learning otherwise. And it highlights some of the points in the example that Archibald gave earlier, some of the challenges students were facing. And we also see significant inequalities among students and among different groups, and that were disproportionately affected by attendance, with disadvantaged students particularly facing challenges with learning and attendance. And if we look at the graph on the left, you can see some examples. In the dark blue was the attendance rates before the pandemic, and afterwards in the light blue was during the pandemic.
Just ahead, Tradewinds 2022 takes the training offshore when we return.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include Cath Lab, Adult Intensive Care Unit, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
National Agriculture and Trade Show is back. Visit the Next Gen booth for exclusive deals and discount on our Next Gen service bundles, high-speed internet, and more. Come experience a cinema setup and watch the Champions League finals on a big screen. We're bringing you great service and entertainment to the 2022 showgrounds. We'll see you there. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 police teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 believes on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
It's almost Mother's Day, and what better way to celebrate than with an awesome gift for your lovely mom from Samsung. Show your mom some love. Treat her to a Samsung A-series device. The affordable lineup includes the Galaxy A03 Core, A03s, A12, A22, A32, A52s, S20 FE, S21 FE, Galaxy Buds 2, and even the Tab A7 Lite and Tab A7 LTE. Every Galaxy purchase from an authorized reseller comes with a 1-year local warranty that will make mom love that Galaxy even longer. So head over to any of Samsung's official partners, including Cellular World, Digi, Odette's Home Center, Ibari, and Westrap, and show your mom how awesome she is this Mother's Day with a Samsung A-series phone or tablet.
The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development informs that there are over 50,000 merchant ships registered in at least 150 countries and manned by over 1 million seafarers. There is a vast disparity in the men and women ratio and a need to advance women's role in that field of work. On the occasion of International Day for Women in Maritime today, Minister of Public Utilities, Energy Logistics and E-Commerce, Michelle Shabat, said that diversity is an issue that several industries struggle to have, and maritime is one of them.
As the Minister responsible for public utilities, energy, logistics and e-governance, I encourage all maritime administration and the maritime sector of Belize to share best practices in achieving gender equality with a view to reaching a barrier-free working environment for women in the maritime community. To the powerful and dynamic women who are currently making waves and charting the course for generations of women in the maritime and shipping sectors, we salute you today and honor your endless contributions.
This is the first year that International Women in Maritime Day is being celebrated. Already the theme and those in authority are calling for there to be gender equality for the women in the sector, as well as for more women to be given fair opportunities to join that sector of work. Port Commissioner, retired Major Gilbert Swazo, also joined that panel.
In the 21st century, gender equality is not only
a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and a sustainable world. As we focus on this, the International Women in Maritime Day, we must recognize that there is tremendous work that needs to be done. Why? According to the worldwide statistics, women currently makes up only 2% of the global maritime workforce and 1.2% of the global seafarers. This year's theme for International Women in Maritime Day is training, visibility, recognition, supports a barrier-free working environment, promotes the need for equal opportunities for women regardless of past traditional roles. It is about understanding and highlighting the important role that women play in a dynamic maritime industry and for fair treatment at all levels, but more so at the decision-making level.
Last night, we showed you a few of the training exercises our Belize Defense Force soldiers have been engaged in on land and in the air during Tradewinds 2022. Tonight, we take you offshore, where the Belize Coast Guard, along with its counterparts from 22 countries, has been training for the past 2 weeks. These seamen have been sharpening their small boat maneuvering and interception skills within the Turneffe Reef Atoll. Today, they conducted a demonstration of some of the skills they acquired over the course of the training. News 5's Paul Lopez filed the following report.
Dive Haven Resort, located in the Turneffe Reef Atoll, is the base for the maritime aspect of Tradewinds 2022. Coast Guard officers from 22 countries have been training within the atoll for the past 2 weeks.
The Tradewinds exercise is a multidimensional exercise. It covers land, air, and sea operations. What we're going to see today is what is happening on the maritime side of the overall exercise. So out there we'll be able to see what the guys learned or reviewed in the past couple of days when it comes to small boat handling and maritime law enforcement. You will be able to see boat handling, of which we can probably say we are experts of, because those are the capabilities that the Belize Coast Guard has, small boats. And also the maritime law enforcement side of it, whereby these guys are taught how to board boats, how to search, and conduct the maritime law enforcement part of the exercise.
A temporary maritime operations center has been established on the 4th floor of the resort. The officers operating the center are tasked with relaying information from the field to their commanding officers.
The Maritime Operations Center is basically somewhat an radar room where we relay information to the CTF, the Command Task Force that is at the Price Barracks. So any activities that takes place on the small boats that you will get an tour of after this, you guys will then proceed and see how the MAC operate and hear how the MAC operate, whereby we relay a message to our higher command from this operation center. Here at the MAC, we basically log down every information that is passed on from the small boats to our higher. At every one time, we have 3 personnel working shifts on a basis of every 2 hours rotation. So we usually man this post from 8 in the morning until 1600, which is 4 in the afternoon.
Today, several teams of officers were out conducting rehearsals for Thursday's culmination day exercise. In this mock scenario, the Coast Guard vessel received intelligence of a vessel carrying suspected narcotics.
Based on intel, we came out here searching for 2 known vessels that were trafficking drugs. Our team boarded the vessel, searched the vessel, and first the guys asked them their nationality, where they were traveling from, and yeah, they seemed to come upon drugs and weapon on the vessel, so they arrested the guys, detained them, informed them that they were taking them to mainland to get them under arrest, due to the suspicious drugs that we found on board the vessel.
For Tradewinds, we're out here trying to share best practices, right? So with the ending, we have some culminating exercises that kind of give some activities that may not normally be seen by the local law enforcement teams. So one of those scenarios is having multiple assets approach multiple different targets of interest, conduct a boarding during their routine patrol, and then implement those best practices to improve their law enforcement training experience.
Coast Guard engineers are also benefiting from a 2-week engineering course that has yielded positive results.
These guys are doing an excellent job. You know, we have some very good instructors who assisted or actually assisting us with bringing out some engines that we had, I could say, down for a couple months. So, but this is the essence of that engineer track. You know, to have engines available for these guys to practice on. You know, and the beauty of it is that they will see what they achieve at the end of Tradewinds. You know, taking an engine that was non-serviceable, and within 2 weeks, by the end of Tradewinds, you know, you have 3, 6, 9 engines that you can say, this is what we achieved. This is what we have as a result of training.
Tradewind 2022 officially comes to a close on Friday. Across the country tomorrow, culminating exercises will be held at the various training sites. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.